Okay, so our first celebrity interview this morning has sold over 13 million albums worldwide. For the past 8 years, Craig David has been one of the UK's biggest selling vocalists, having notched up a series of UK garage and R&B anthems. After the release of Rewind, his first single in 2000, Craig began an astonishing chart run, which culminated in 18 top 40 singles and 2 hit albums in the UK and America. But how are you doing, Craig?
I'm good, baby. How are you?
I'm very well. Welcome to Girls Like Us. Thanks for your time today.
Pleasure.
Brilliant. I know you're in the middle of a UK tour at the moment. Tell me, how's that going? How's the preparation and all that?
Do you know, it's wicked, you know? I mean, to get back out on the road, especially with the new album, and just being able to kind of fine-tune and pick songs that wouldn't necessarily make it like a greatest hits tour, because we've got the greatest hits coming out later on this year.
Okay. So, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's like, it was nice to kind of 4 albums worth to pick songs from, do you know what I mean? So it's been really difficult trying to pick the songs for that.
So who does that? You? Do you pick the songs?
I go through it with my manager, because he sort of does A&R with me, so it's kind of like, we try and, I mean, I always got my favourites, obviously, and there's certain songs that need to go on there because they're just like the hits that people know.
What, like Rendezvous, you mean?
Well, you know. It's funny because everyone will say, well, just give us the whole of the first album on that, and that would be a good little look. That's just, it's funny though, but it's like, trying to pick songs for this tour has been difficult because it's a good problem to be in, but you're constantly sort of picking out singles that people know, and you're sort of thinking, well, it's just turned into a bit of a greatest hits sort of show. So I tried to really make it this new album, Trust Me, and then picking off a few album tracks from other records, a few other hits that people know, and compile it like that. So
okay, so tell me how the new album's going. How are you?
The new album's really cool. You know, it's been like a whole transition and a journey for me, because like with every up there's a down, and you got kind of like, you ride through your lows to kind of like to be prepared hopefully for a high. And to be honest, this record for me, probably one of the best records I've made since Born to Do It, in terms of where I've been creatively, the freedom to be able to make a record without kind of having too many cooks in the kitchen, sort of pulling me in different directions, and getting away to Cuba and in Havana to record the record, and being in a position where you're out your comfort zone recording. It's
got to help in it.
Yeah, it's got to. So you think it would be like, have a few mojitos, kick back, do you know what I mean? A few guys sort of like playing like some Spanish guitar around you. Do you know what? It was like, it was really like going back into some deep ghetto, back to the 50s. I mean, you see like these 1950s cars flying around, old school studio. Like the technology was like back to the reel-to-reel tapes, and kind of making sure you recorded everything, getting all the levels right and recording it one time rather than going back in. Totally different way of doing things, but it was a shock to the system, but good. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully you have to step up your game to it. So
you're saying this is the first kind of album since your first that you've been able to solely have it be you?
Yeah, I mean every album has been me, and I mean I'm in love with each of the records. They're all kind of a moment in time, do you know what I mean? But I think this album was just like, I had the freedom of calling it Trust Me. Was the reason behind that was that I just said to the record company, look, I'm in the studio, rather than calling me up every 5 minutes or saying, well, how's the record sound, what kind of direction, it's just like, look, just trust me. I'll come with we all want to sell records here together. Let's not get twisted. I understand the music business. We all want to kind of sell millions of records, great. But obviously if I'm kind of being pulled in a million different ways, and I make a record that sounds like it doesn't really have any direction, then we're all over the gaff. So the fact that they afforded me the respect to make a record like this allowed me to do my thing, and then hopefully together sell some records together.
Okay, so I want to briefly take it back to the beginning. You mentioned Born to Do It, brilliant album.
Thank you.
6 times platinum in the UK and platinum in America. Take me back to that time. What was that time like for you when the album came out?
Do you know what it was like? It was like being thrown completely in the deep end, but loving it at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Because I was a young kid, come out of like Southampton as a DJ, MCing over tracks, like sort of vocalising and harmonising over the tracks, to next thing have the opportunity to come up to London, that was a big thing in itself, to come into the big city. And then this instant success to like, not only from the Artful Dodger stuff, but to go first single film in #1, 7 days #1, album #1. It was just like, I couldn't ask for much more on that record, do you know what I mean? And I think it was like all encapsulated in the fact that I'd come from this very humble background, being as that, to kind of be thrown in deep. I think it leveled me out and allowed me to appreciate the time that I was having, because it's very easy to get caught up in the whole thing. But it was wicked, the respect that people gave me, and it was a learning curve for me. I got a lot more confident and matured a lot quicker. I had to wise up quickly, because you're in the mix of it. Do you know what I mean? Fail to prepare, prepare to fail kind of thing. And I was like, well, you're in it now, so you better make sure you're on point. So it was a good look.
Saying that, you're one of the few artists from the UK garage scene who've managed to carve a long-term career for yourself. Now, why do you think that is?
Do you know what it is? it's hard to kind of put exactly a pointer as to what exactly it is, but if I look back in hindsight, I think the time and the place, I mean, the garage scene was exploding at the time. I was very much the kind of face of the scene, and it was like I had a record that I'd been working on that was in place. So as soon as Rewind had sort of got momentum and blew up into this big underground hit, commercially blew up, then by the time I hit with Feel Me as the first single, I had an album to back up with that. 7 Days then dropped, then Walking Away. It was like, it just felt like we had like artillery and we were firing on all cylinders. It's like, you couldn't hold us back. Come we go. What you want? Oh, we give a bazooka now, or a couple of grenades. We were firing. So